Hey guys. Okay, so I'm doing another weight gain one because I know that is like I would say half my questions were about weight gain. Okay, so will I gain weight? Here is like the long answer to will you gain weight. So in intuitive eating, you have rejected dieting. You are making complete peace with food. You are allowing or giving yourself permission to eat any food. You know that any food will always be available to you. And so, therefore, you are going to be able to stop at a moderate, normal amount of that food because you have made peace with it. You know it's allowed. It's not going away. You aren't going to restrict yourself. You can eat that food again, the next time you get hungry. So you'll be able to stop. And again, I know that sounds like, no, I won't. But just remember that right now you're probably in a diet mentality. So it feels like you won't be able to. But you will after you have made peace with food. So, if you're only giving yourself like pseudo permission, like let's say you're like, okay, I'm gonna let myself eat anything I want, and then you go and let's say you're like me and you go get some frozen yogurt. If in the back of your mind you're like, all right, I'm eating whatever I want, but I really shouldn't be eating this, and I'm probably not gonna eat it tomorrow because I shouldn't have eaten it right now. And afterwards you're like, man, I can't believe I ate that. You are still in a diet mentality. You're not really giving yourself permission. As long as there's judgment and criticism and negativity, then it's not really peace with food. Which means you will eventually overeat it because you still don't feel like you're supposed to be. So you really need to kind of check in with yourself and like check if you actually are giving yourself full permission. And that's a good way to tell, kind of based on your reaction in your head when you eat those foods. And that guilt that you feel, if you're feeling guilty still, even though you're trying to give yourself permission, is what makes people eat, compulsively, out of control. So as long as you still have that guilt, then you'll overeat. So yeah, if you do it that way, where you're not really giving yourself true permission, you probably will gain weight because that means you're still in a diet mentality. And diets, quite honestly, almost all the time, eventually lead to weight gain because of the yo-yo cycle and the restriction binge cycle. So yeah. Another thing is, if you've been dieting for a long time and restricting these foods that now you're going to allow back into your life and give yourself full permission to eat, there is a chance that you will gain some weight in the beginning. However, this is not permanent weight. This is a reaction to having been dieting for so long and finally allowing yourself to eat the foods that you enjoy. And once you go through that process, eventually your body is going to want more nutrient dense foods, I promise. Like, it only took me about 2 weeks to be like, oh, I cannot do any more frozen yogurt. It will happen. And once you get into that phase where you like your body craves like those more nutrient dense foods, and you've kind of worked out maybe some of the foods that really don't make you feel that good, you will start going back down to your natural ideal weight. And you cannot force that to happen. You cannot just say, oh, okay, I've given it 2 days, I'm going to go back to eating. Because if you do, then you're just back in the diet mentality. Yeah, so you might. But it's not the end of the world. And it's worth fixing your relationship with food. And it's worth feeling better about yourself. And it's worth getting off this endless cycle that could possibly lead to binging and so many other negative effects. So, and it's not there forever, okay? So yeah, that's my answer. Okay, next video.